Countrywide Media CEO Sarah Perriam-Lampp is with me. Great to have you this morning, Sarah. So the New Zealand Cooperative Economy Report came out this week. What does it show us?
It's an interesting timing for the report because it is actually the United Nations International Year of the Cooperative. Cooperatives are quite predominant within the rural sector, but they actually do cross across banking, health, and our grocery sector with the likes of Southern Cross and foodstuffs. But many in the rural sector will be familiar with cooperatives such as Ravensdown and, of course, the Troubled Alliance group at the moment. What the group is showing is the significance to our GDP of the cooperative model. 12.5% contribution to GDP from only a 1.5% workforce. It showcases that New Zealand is very unique in per capita of cooperatives and reflects really as a nation who we are in having so many of these models.
Okay, so what exactly about these models, the co-ops, make them such a strong pillar of the economy?
Well, I think they're very collaborative and they've always been formed from a shared challenge, very community driven, and really feed back the value to our country and capture that value as opposed to offshore. Even though some like Zespri and Fonterra are export driven cooperatives, they do return that value here at home. But it's really interesting, and again, we talked to alliances, that they were set up, some of them, at a time when farmers were crying out for that shared collaboration. But things and business models have moved on, and also capitalising these models is really challenging.
Yeah, can you elaborate a bit more on those challenges?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that capital raising is really hard and difficult, and the appetite from a straight banking model isn't as straightforward. And again, I come back to the challenge we're seeing there with Alliance, and we're seeing a lot of hybrid cooperative models, the likes of when Zhejiang, the Chinese investors within Silverfern Farms came in and bought. And so therefore it's around how they can grow. And so there is a lot of discussion at boardroom level at the moment around what does the future of cooperatives look like. But at the same time, there is so much value and growth within that particular model. And there's a lot of conversations within Cooperative Business New Zealand and what it could look like and expanding into different industries.
And new surveys come out showing that there's still these challenges with mobile coverage in some rural areas. You'd think this would be sorted out by now in 2025. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting perception, isn't it, that, we're doing so well. We've had the ultra fibre broadband rollout. We have Starlink coming into rural, which has effectively been quite a game changer for many people. But Federated Farmers have recently conducted a survey of 600 farmers, and a lot of them are saying that potentially mobile coverage in their areas has actually reduced in quality. And so there's a real fear that particularly we're having the 3G shutoff very shortly by the end of this year. We're going to have the copper cut off by 2030. And so therefore, I think it hasn't really been a clear industry plan around, that last mile and who we're leaving behind, particularly as agriculture is digitally transforming and the impact of needing the internet within rural. I can genuinely say that, yes, you can have coverage in certain areas, but it can drop out. And we certainly don't have the mobile coverage that I think our telcos think we do.
Yeah, so what is the message to the telcos, or what needs to be done in terms of government regulation? Do we just need heaps more of these cell towers out on the farms?
It is interesting because there is a lack of aligned leadership in the investment between the likes of Chorus and the current government into where does the government continue to invest in that last mile, and what is the role of the communities to also do this. Maybe potentially it's a little bit like water and taking community ownership around a key resource, but then again, that is a question for the government. They have expectations on doubling exports, but they need to enable the infrastructure to allow for farmers to do that as well.
Okay, and finally, SurveyPep. What is this and what can it be used for?
Well, it's interesting. A colleague said to me once, who was from Ireland, you like to milk a lot of different types of animals in this country, and deer is not alone. Deer milk has been a novelty product, but it is really gaining a huge amount of traction internationally, where it is actually being highlighted as its incredible properties for sleep, and the peptoids within there are really able to have those psychological effects to be able to help us go to sleep. So So dear old Bambi is coming to the rescue. But the Doe's brand has been up in Asia, and it's taken their stand, they said, was one of the busiest at this expo, around the novelty of deer milk, but also the bioactive ingredients within that and how it can take on what is a huge wellness market around sleep.
Far out. So deer milk, do you reckon we're going to eventually see it on the supermarket shelves, Sarah?
Oh, potentially. I mean, these are pretty high value functional food products, nutraceutical type things, but it's definitely a global trend around the world, and where our nutraceutical kind of pharmacies and food as thy medicine trend is going globally. So it's really exciting for the New Zealand deer milk industry to see this evolution.